crowds in Trafalgar Square and Piccadilly.
Where are we going now?
Up the Mall and along to the palace.
So on we went, thousands of us through Admiralty Arch and into the Mall. A huge V was in the sky, made by searchlights. And there were bonfires everywhere, throwing their flames up into the air. And it was glorious after so many years of blackout to have light around us.
Sing, boom, ta-ra-roll, ring out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel, 'cause the gang's all here.
I've been evacuated with my baby to a village in Derbyshire. The people in the village lit a bonfire on the nearest open space with dancing and singing. Me, I got to see all of this from the door of the house. Me thoughts not on the end of the fighting and bombing, but oh, to get back to me own home in Deptford, me own gas stove, me own bed, and most of all to see me dear old dad again. He slept all through the bombing at his old shop in Deptford Broadway.
There'll always be an England where there's a busy street, wherever there's a turning wheel, a million marching feet. A man we seem to have seen before somewhere looks down from a balcony in Whitehall. Mr. Churchill is standing on the balcony of the Ministry of Health. He's wearing that famous boiler suit and has the audacity to put on his famous black hat. No one could say that it goes with the boiler suit, but you could hear what a cheer it raised from the crowd.
Hooray!
Mr. Churchill is now conducting the singing. This has suddenly become a very moving moment. Will you listen, please?
Land of
Hope and glory, Mother of the free, how shall we extol thee, who are born of thee? VE Day, that's when I deserted. Just came out on a train, down to London, down to Whitehall. Joining the festivities, singing, dancing, everyone saluting one another. Then the next day I went back. No one knew I'd been gone.
We were in the Land Army, but we had to get to London that night. Oh, it was one great, huge party. And what it mattered, we'd had to sit on the platform the rest of the night and catch the milk train home. It was fantastic. And I was back on the tractor at 7 in the morning.
Wider still and wider shall thy bounds be set.
Come on, right along to the memorial.
I'm going to climb up it and get a better view of the palace. There, look. To make thee mighty, make thee mightier yet.
I was trying to finish a rather important piece of work. Someone rushed in the office and said,
Come on, it's over, Vera. Put that all down.
"No, I'm finishing my work. You're telling me the war's over? Well, one expected that, that's all right."
All right.
And I continued my work until I finished it. That was me, the way I liked things. I mean, you felt a great sense of relief that you could cope and plan for a better life, but you didn't go riotously joyful or anything.
Roll Britannia, Britannia rolls the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves.
We want the king. Oh,
We want the king.
I was so excited the war was over.
We
I was
want the
11
king.
when it started.
We want
Now
the
I'm
king.
17.
We
No
want the king.
more war.
want the king.
We want the king. We want the king. Oh, they must be able to
We
hear
want
us
the
miles
king.
away.
We
Here
want-
he is. Woo!
I was in Naples, Italy. With all my bones broken. In a hospital where they put the wounded, waiting for a ship to take you home. VE Day, I felt nothing. All of a sudden the men are going by me, shooting off rifles and that. One comes in and says, "The war's over. Don't go out to nothing, they're going mad out there." Well, I wasn't going out, was I?
Let's all do the conga. Let's all do the conga. Da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. No more bombs.
No more going down the showers!
No more blackout.
Wait!
Da 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 da.
I felt numb. No feeling of euphoria. We'd just had confirmation of the death of a friend of mine on a bombing raid, and earlier in the war, My young brother had been killed in a similar way. And so many of the young boys from the church wouldn't be coming home. I felt a bit like a zombie. I remember just finishing my household chores. Then I sat by the window with my 20-month-old daughter on my lap. 6 years out of our lives. And I knew it would never be the same again. I went to bed early that night and cried myself to sleep.
Let's all do the conga. Let's all do the conga. La 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 la. Hey, la 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 la.
Every nationality was there, cheering, really going mad. We were so happy that the war was over. I don't think we thought about anything else. And lots of people fainted. The excitement, the joy was just too much for them. But the war was over at last. The lights were on again.
When the nations lose their war sense and the world gets back its whole sense, what a day for celebration that will be. When somebody shouts, the fight's up and it's time to put the lights up, then the first thing to be lit up will be me. I'm gonna get lit up when the lights go up in London. I'm gonna get lit up as I've never been before. You will find me on the tiles, you will find me reading smiles. I'm going to get so lit up, I'll be visible for miles. The city will sit up when the lights go up in London. We'll all be lit up as the Strand was on more much more. And before the party's played out, we will fetch the fire brigade out to the latest stop the scene you have sung. And before the party's played out, they will fetch the fire brigade out to the latest stop the scene you have sung. And before the party's played out, they will fetch the fire brigade out to the latest stop the scene you ever saw.
The street party Mum and I were planning with our neighbours. We were all scrimping and saving every little bit of food and tea we could.
Oh, it's going to be such a big do, Peggy, with singing and music.
We cut old sheets into zigzags, dyed them with red and blue dolly dyes, sewed them together and draped them across the street. Flags come out from nowhere.
We were still on rations. We didn't really have much.
Hey, old Mr. Gray's given us some tins of ham and stuff. He must have been storing it up in case there was an invasion.
And we made jellies out of fruit juice, gelatine and water. And people made spam sandwiches and fairy cakes and blancmange.
Well, you all took it and it was all pulled together. Everybody put in.
Trestle tables covered with sheets with long benches either side, placed in the middle of the road. Traffic was diverted. Hey, go on, on you go. You're having a bit of a do with the kids and that. Yeah, all right. Not that there was a lot of traffic in them days.
I didn't feel like celebrating. Wasn't anything to celebrate. Losing my brother. And my husband lost his brother. I lost all my home in the bombing. Didn't really feel like doing anything that day. There was a street party for the kids, but I just looked, you know.
A lot of people gave me sweet coupons, and I took all the coupons I'd collected up to the man in the sweet shop, and I said, "Do you think you could make them into little bags for the children?" He said, "Yeah, it'd be nice for them all to have a little present." They were all pleased as punch about that.
We dressed up, and it was nice to do things with my cousins because I'd lost contact with them while I'd been evacuated. One cousin was dressed as Britannia in white sheets.
Roll, Britannia! Britannia rules the waves!
And another cousin, Maria, was the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, say, can you see?
And I was Russia. I borrowed a blouse from my auntie and a borrower, and I had a skirt made out of a red flag.
The people's flag is deepest red, it's shrouded off our the dead.
I danced and sang at the street party, and I was happy that the war was over, but I was sad too. Because other people's older brothers and fathers would be coming back, but my dad wasn't coming home. He was in the submarines, and he and his shipmates had died under the sea. For a long time after, I kept hoping and dreaming that he would come back, but I knew I'd never see him again.
Though the cowards flinch and traitors sneer, we'll keep the red flag flying here.
And in the afternoon, there were games and races with prizes.
Go!
1 and 6 for the first prize.
And sixpence for the third.
Hey!
One soldier won't come back, brought chocolate for us kids. Yeah, he collected it from all the other soldiers in the barracks, see? We had a great time!
On the day of the party, my daughter Jenny developed chicken pox. Oh, what a disappointment. We sat at the window, watching the tables being set with all the goodies. Flags out, children playing and sing-songs after tea. Poor Jenny covered in spots and longing to get out. But kind neighbours brought us lots of goodies and we could hear the music play, so we had our little party indoors, didn't we? Later in the day, there was a knock at the door. Carl.
Mrs. Knight, I want to thank you.
This German POW worked with my cousin, and he was stationed at a local camp. Well, I'd always put an extra sandwich in my cousin's lunchbox for Carl, because I felt sorry for him.
You were very kind. I'll not forget what you have done.
It was nothing, really. I always hoped that if my husband was caught, someone over there would treat him the same way.
I will soon be leaving for Germany. I have bought this for you and your husband.
Oh, they're wonderful. Did you make them yourself?
Yeah.
They were rope slippers. It must have taken him weeks.
And this is for your little girl.
Oh, come and look, Jenny. I can't ask you in because she's got chicken pox.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you.
I am sorry, that is all I could bring. It is my thank you and goodbye present.
Goodbye. Go safely. I was so grateful to him for his kindness. I've never forgotten him.
And then at night time, after all us children were put to bed, it was all the grown-ups.
We borrowed a tea urn from a place on the corner which used to be a shelter, but they were taking it down. We had it with tea first, and for the evening we filled it with beer. We took jugs up the pub and we put all the beer in the urn, and then we put it on the table outside.
My family's contribution to the street party was taking this radiogram and putting it outside in the front garden, playing Inkspot's records. And the whole street came out to dance. I danced with a sailor who lived opposite. Unfortunately, I was still only 14. And I had to get up for work the next morning. My dad said,
Oi! 10 o'clock! Bang!
and he pulled the plug out. I was furious. He could have danced all night.
The lady opposite, Mrs. Hemmings, she had two men bring the piano out on the street. They got it through the window.
Every street had a makeshift stage with a piano on it, and they're singing and dancing. I ran an electric light from my light in the front room, and they are singing and dancing. I tell you what, there was this young girl there. Her voice was the image of Vera Lynn's.
When the lights gone again.
What do I say? Smash it. Go on, get it, son, girl. Go on there.
The
boys all over again. All over. It's just like it.
just like it.
And rain or
Smashing
snow
hits.
is all that
That
fall
far
from
skies
skies above. Our kiss won't
Oh,
mean
me.
goodbye, but hello to love.
All right, that's enough. All right, that's enough. And that's smashing, just like her, isn't it? It wasn't that good. Yeah, it was that good, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Later on, Mr. Camel, you know, from Bradwell Street, he come out, he was playing the piano. I was playing me banjo, and we had a knees up. Hey! A knees up, mother brown, knees up, mother brown. Under the table you must go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. If I catch you bending, I'll saw your legs right off. So knees up, don't get the knees up, mother brown.
We danced half the night. So happy we never had to dive into a shelter ever again. It was lovely.
Oh, everybody said after that they never enjoyed themselves so much.
So
Knees up, don't get the knees up,
Mother Brown, knees up, Mother Brown, knees up, Mother Brown. Under the table you must go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. If I catch you bending, I'll saw your legs right off.
So knees up, don't get the knees up,
Mother Brown.
Hey! Hey! Well, after that, it was back to work, wasn't it? Well, you had to, didn't you? And then what was coming back from the war, well, they wanted to get back to work. Mind you, some of them weren't fit for it. They looked terrible. They didn't want unfit men, no. Some had to have hospital treatment, psychiatry, things like that. The war certainly had its after effects.
Bob had written to say he was on his way, and we were expecting him any day now.
Yeah, Peg and I collected a load of bottle tops and we painted them red, white and blue. Hammered them on this board and made a sign that says, "Welcome home, Bob."
I was worried how Mum would react when my Bob came back. Well, my brother Eddie was a gunner, and he died out in India in 1944, drowned. He was Mum's favourite, and she'd gone to pieces when she died. For nights she roamed the streets looking for him, peering into all the water tanks, because she couldn't believe he was gone. We've still got his last letter on the mantelpiece, written a week before he died. She read it aloud over and over again.
To Mrs. Shelton, Grange Road, Bermondsey. From Gunner Shelton, number 5 holding, Mobile Anti-Aircraft Regiment, India Command. Dear Mum.
Dear Mum, sorry this has been scribbled, as I'm writing it on the quick. When you receive it, I shall be on the move. Hope Jerry isn't making a nuisance of himself over there. Had 2 bottles of beer last week. Only thing was, it was Indian beer. But not too bad. Enough to wet the whistle. Well, that's about it at the moment. Except cheerio. TTFN. Take care of yourself. Love to all the family. Your loving son, Eddie.
Love to all the family. Your loving son, Eddie.
She can't really bear to think about it, so we don't mention it anymore. And now, Bob was coming home. I wasn't sure how Jenny would feel when my Bob came back. Well, she'd been surrounded by women and she'd hardly ever seen her father, except when he put in an occasional appearance on leave. She'd had me all to herself. I always kept a photo of Bob in his uniform on the mantelpiece. I used to say to Jenny, "That's Daddy. Say good night to Daddy." Things like that. Your daddy's gone a long, long way. We know that he'll come back someday. And he'll have such a lot to say that day when Daddy comes home.
day before. That's why we miss him all the more. And we'll be waiting at the door that day when Daddy comes home.
And in your picture book, you'll read a different story, because you'll find your fairy tale has all come true. And while the stars begin to peep, it's time for you to go to sleep. So kneel and pray that God will keep you safe till Daddy comes home.
When's Daddy coming home again?
Won't be long now. Sleep tight. I don't think I thought Bob would ever come back and that we'd meet up again. But then when I heard he was on his way, I dreamt about what a beautiful, loving time we'd have. Like one long leave.
I didn't think I'd come back, you know. No, I didn't. And I didn't know Peggy would make it through the bombing in London. The times I was home on leave, I thought she was more dangerous out here than what we was out there. But she's still here, and I'm here. I can be gay though you're far from me, and I will tell you why. Each passing day means we soon will be together, you and I. That's the homecoming waltz with me. What a homecoming that will be. I don't need to tell you I've missed you so. Funny how slowly the days can go. Let the melody has its way. Tell you what I've been waiting to say. Now all our goodbyes are history, with the homecoming waltz for me.
I'm making plans for that happy day. It won't be long till then. You'll be my brother when dreams come true, and we can both alone.
Dance the homecoming waltz with me. What a homecoming that will be. I don't need to tell you I missed you so. Funny how slowly the days can go. Let the melody have its way. Tell you what I've been waiting to say. Now all our goodbyes are history, with a homecoming waltz for me. I'm home. I can't believe it.
Hello, love. He just stood there and cried, with his kit bag on his shoulder. He looked very thin and he hadn't had a wash or a haircut. Better get you in the bath. You're a scruffy looking soldier.
What do you expect? Just crossed France on a jerry train with no lights and no food. Took 2 days. Every bridge we come to, we had to stop and get out, walk across, in case they was mined. I've just come off a troop ship.
I filled the bath and I left him to it. He had this enormous cardboard box with him and I wondered what was inside it. I thought it might be a present for me and Jenny. Some food, mushrooms, a ham.
Will you, fetch me a cup of tea?
Of course.
Tom. Being back was a bit awkward at first, because you've been away for so long. You was a bit of a stranger to him, you see. And you did change in that time. I mean, 5 or 6 years. You was a different person when you come back.
You'll never believe this, but I wouldn't look at him in the bath. I took him his cup of tea and I said, "Here you are."
So,
And I wouldn't look.
hang on. One of the greatest reactions I got when I first came back was that there was nobody I knew. I went in June 39 and I come back in June 45. That's a long time, you know. I did the whole war. And when I come back, there was nobody I knew. They'd all dispersed. They give me this D-Mob suit. You could get them in 3 colours. Brown, grey and blue. Guess what? I got the brown one. I'll show you. Yeah. Yeah. You got this trilby hat, a mat with a belt, and these shoes that always hurt your feet.
So that's what was in the cardboard box.
Yeah.
I think it was at that moment that I realised Bob was home for good. Whereas for Jenny, well, she didn't want to know.
Is he staying here with us?
Yes, of course he is.
How long for?
For always, darling.
Why isn't he going home?
This is his home now. She was absolutely petrified of him. She wouldn't stay in the same room with him. If I went to the loo, well, she'd come and wait outside the door for me. And she was always saying,
When's that man going home?
it must have been ever so difficult for Bob. And when it came to bedtime, it was worse.
That's my place!
Hey? Oh, not again! Oh, do me a favour! Oh, here. Don't believe it.
It took a long time to settle that score. Well, she'd had me all to herself, you see. As far as she was concerned, I belonged to her. Up to when Bob came home. We'd done everything together, me and Jenny, and she was such a helpful little soul, really. I remember once when I'd ordered some lino and I kept going up the shop to see if it'd come in. Well, it took weeks and weeks to arrive, and then when it did, they wouldn't deliver it, and they wouldn't keep it for you either. So there I was with this huge roll of lino, a little girl of 4 years old, and about a mile to walk home. Well, I took one end, and Jenny took the other. Of course, she kept dropping her end.
Oh! It's heavy, Mummy. It keeps slipping.
And I was shouting out, "Hold your end up!" Oh, they all laughed. I feel quite ashamed of myself when I think of it now. But we did eventually get it home.
Oh!
And then we sat down and cried. But then when we saw how lovely it looked, we started laughing. So you see, up to when Bob came home, I'd been the sole person in her life. But gradually...
Dance the homecoming waltz with me. What a homecoming that will be. I don't need to tell you I've missed you so. Funny how slowly the days can go. Let the sway, sway. Tell you what I've been waiting to say. Now all our goodbyes are history, with the oncoming waltz for me. Oh yeah.
Gradually, she accepted him, and we began to get to know each other again.
Go on. Right, well, I'd better sort my old tools out, get myself a job. And I'll see to the bills now.
And actually, I thought, oh, good.
Nothing's impossible, I have found. But when me chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, dust myself off, start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
I'd worked very hard, as we all had in the civil service during the war, 52 hours a week and extra as well. I'd been promoted to a responsible position, but I wasn't what was known as a permanent civil servant.
Good morning, Miss,
Miss Wilkins, actually.
Miss Wilkins, of course. This is your desk from now on. If you could just type this, please.
All right, I was a conscript. The war was over. But why should I go to the bottom on the lowest salary? I don't see why I should be humiliated and go to the very bottom. I later learned that those that did accept and accepted grade 3, which was the lowest form of life in the civil service, never got out of it.
Work like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired.
Oh, I was working in a factory on an assembly line during the war. I'd been called up and I hated that job. And where I worked, it was always cold in the winter. We had to knit ourselves mittens. But when the war was over, well, that was it. We were supposed to give the jobs back to the ex-servicemen. And as far as I was concerned, it was wonderful.
Well, you remember the famous man who had to fall to rise again.
Work? I was good for nothing. Could hardly get about. I was blown up on a cruiser Ryan, coming out of Crete. I wish I'd never joined up. Lost a good job and good money fighting for this country. Nobody wants to know you. You fight for your country and the government, and they do nothing to help you. Knowing what you've done.
And leaving the land army was a terrible wrench. I felt as if I'd lost something. Part of me. Part of me was still there. In the country. Odd, really, for a girl from South London. But I hated coming back. And worst of all, I couldn't find any sort of a job. Well, I was a fairly highly qualified typist and bookkeeper when I left. But now I'd lost my typing speed and I couldn't get any kind of a job at all, and that made me absolutely livid. Well, I did finally get a job at the United Dairies Depot. Checking the milkman's rounds books. How low can you get? And one of the head managers, he tried it on all the young girls. Wandering hands. Well, one day he made the mistake of trying it on me. And I told him in a very loud voice exactly what I'd do if he ever did that to me again. Shortly after, I was asked to leave.
Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip.
Didn't change that much in the shop, still the rationing. And there was never enough sausages and liver to go around everybody. They was all rations, so you had to formulate your own rationing system by putting a mark in their ration books like. You get some of them, they come in, they say, They say, I'll have some sausages. I say, no, you had sausages last week, you can't have them this week. They say, well, I'll give you twice as much. Well, I told them where to get off, didn't I? But me, well, I looked after myself, didn't I? I mean, you wouldn't believe me if I said I didn't.
When I got back from evacuation, they didn't think it was worth me having any more schooling because I was just 14. My mother got me this job in a glass factory where she worked. I was a box labeller. Oh, that was my worst time. I desperately wanted to go into nursing, and they'd already accepted me at the hospital to do the menial tasks at weekends, and I loved every minute of it. But it meant living away from home. And my mother said,
It's so nice to have you back home again.
She didn't realise what it meant to me, because I was so keen to do it, to go and get trained. And at the hospital, we were all talking about the beverage plan. Well, I thought it was super. Everything free. It was going to make such a difference.
Your dad and I have decorated your bedroom and put new furniture in.
Emotional blackmail.
You don't want to go straight off again, do you?
So I didn't. But it would have been so much better if I had. She got me in this job when I was 14, and that was that. I was stuck there till I got married in 1952.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
I'd left the ATS. Now I was in the Army Pay Corps as a civilian. We got a lot of letters from people trying to claim money. Wives asking.
Why has my allowance been stopped?
It was usually because the husband had disappeared, gone AWOL. And pregnant girlfriends trying to track down their men.
I was wondering if you had any information on a Private Smithers.
Smithers.
See, I'm expecting his baby.
Of course, he'd probably gone back to his wife. Sorry, dear. We've got a lot of these to deal with. Pay books still coming in from men killed in action. A lot of them were like this, covered in blood or even with a bullet hole through them. But each one represented a young life that'd been lost.
There was plenty of work for us in the building trade. Yeah, you could pick and choose. If you heard of a job that was more money, you left the job you was in and went there, didn't you? It was that easy. We could do what we liked. We had the upper hand.
Nothing's impossible, I have found, for when my chin is on the ground,
I pick myself up, dust myself up, start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip and pick yourself up, dust yourself up, start all over again.
Work like a sword inspired till the battle of the day is won.
You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man, my son. Will you remember the famous men who had to fall to rise again? So take a deep breath, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Whoa. Emergency housing is already being tackled. Here in Woolwich, permanent prefabricated homes costing between £800 and £900 each are being erected in the present-day manner of building. In 10 weeks, something like a little suburb will have been fitted out and slotted into place. The housing programme generally is being speeded up to help solve the urgent need for new homes.
It's time you and Bob and Jenny had a place of your own.
Well, it is a lot for you, Mum.
Oh, it's not that. You know I love having you here, but, oh well, this place.
It's Bob, isn't it? I don't know what's the matter with him.
Well, he has been a bit touchy. Perhaps he's settled better in his own home.
It's getting our own home, isn't it? I mean, council don't want to know. I went up the town hall again this afternoon.
Oh, any luck?
They're sending someone round. I really want one of those nice little prefabs. Elsie's got one. It's like a doll's house. It's got a fridge, fitted cupboards, check curtains. She spends all day polishing the brass window fastenings. Oh, that might be him, the man from the housing. It is. Oh, no.
Look, lay out some tea things in your room, as if you have to eat up there, and, you know, throw out some clothes, make it look crowded, like you're only allowed in the one room. I'm not having that pram in the hall, not anymore, I'm not.
Don't overdo it, Mum.
We're crammed out. Oh, hello. You from the housing?
Yes. Are you Mrs. Knight?
Oh, no, that's my daughter. She's lodging here till they find her and her husband a place.
Yeah.
Do squeeze your way in. Sorry, it's a little bit pokey.
Oh, yeah.
Mind the pram as you go.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, hello. Right, I'll just go through some forms.
And keep that noise down. Just stop that child running about.
You can see what it's like.
Yes, precisely. As soon as anything comes up, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Cheerio.
That's it. Thanks.
Well, I think we fooled him. I just hope it pays off.
Well, you had to fight. Of course. I was dreaming of a nice, cosy little prefab. Everything you could think of, and only 16 shillings a week. And what did they give us? 2 huge rooms in an old requisitioned house.
Oh, grand, isn't it, eh? Great big rooms, smashing. Oh, look at this good bit of wooden floor, this, eh? Yeah, that's classy, that is. Whoa.
Well, might have been once. There's all splinters. The Army's bomb disposal unit had been in it before us and they'd wrecked it. Well, our utility furniture, everything's lost in this great vast space. We were allowed 1 3-foot by 4-foot carpet, so we had no floor covering at all except for that bit in the best room. And the allowance for curtains only covered one window because they were so large. I had to use that folk weave, Hessian stuff for the rest because you could get it off rations. Well, we couldn't get enough coal rations to heat the rooms, and Jenny's had a cold since the day we moved in.
Stop moaning. I've shoveled up some coal from the railway sidings and put it in Fred's sidecar. I'll fetch it in as soon as we come back from the pub, all right?
Oh, not out again. Well, can't you stay in with me and Jenny for once?
I've promised. Fred, you wanted the coal? All right. Get your mother over to mine, Jenny. Then you could come and have a drink. I'll see you later.
During the war, when he came home on an occasional leave, we were staying with Mum and she'd sit with the baby. But now, I was on my own, night after night, in this barn of a place. I missed my Mum. Well, during the war years, Mum and I just sort of mucked in together. Well, she went to work mornings and nights, and I'd look after Jenny and do the dinner.
Of course, if there was anything going for food, well, I'd line up for it on the way home. And Peg and I used to pull the food and have one main meal a day.
If I had lots of coupons, I'd be a millionaire. Then I could live in cupboard and I wouldn't have a care. Now I've got lots of money, but that don't mean a thing. All the things I want, when I can't get to rags I've got to cling. If I had lots of coupons, I'd be a millionaire. Then I could live in cupboard and I wouldn't have a care. Now I've got lots of money, but that don't mean a thing. All the things I want, when I can't get to rags I've got to cling.
Well, time I got home, we'd done a bit of washing and had a bite to eat. Well, I used to have to go to work, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I'd get back, well, my time to get back was 9. But if there were raids on, well, I wouldn't get back till I cleared up the next morning. Sometimes I'd be over there all night.
I'd take Jenny into bed with me when the raids got really bad, or we'd go under the old dining table. Funnily enough, when Jenny got bigger, she used to play under the table, especially if an aeroplane went over. She'd shout, "Plane!" and dive under the table. I think it was born in her to do that. I used to help my mum and she used to help me. Well, that's how you coped. Your mother was your best pal in those days. over to see me in this place very often.
Hello, Peg, love.
Hello, Mum.
Oh, what are you doing sitting here all on your own? Isn't there anyone upstairs in the flats you can talk to?
Well, I don't know any of them, Mum. I don't know anyone round here. I wish we hadn't moved out.
I'm missing you. And Jenny as well. Oh, I had such a toothache the other day. Nothing to take my mind off it. I'm going to have to do something about it. I can't afford to. The place feels empty without you. But we couldn't have gone on the way we were.
I don't know what got into Bob. He was so possessive. I think he was jealous of us. Felt squeezed out.
Well, it is a difficult time for him. Getting used to Civvy Street. Missing his pals. Why don't you and Bob go out in the town and I'll mind Jenny? It'd do you good.
I'd love to dress up nice and go to a dance, Mum, but I've got nothing to wear. I can't go out in that old black maternity frock again.
I've got a little surprise for you. I got Gladys to make it up for you.
Oh,
It's the new look.
Oh, it's smashing. I love it.
Look, it's got a square neck, see, and a long full skirt.
Oh, thanks, Mum.
You go out and enjoy yourself.
My stockings are in tatters. My shoes are worse for wear. But if I had lots of coupons, I would be a millionaire.
Guess what? I'm getting a car! Hey!
I couldn't even manage new shoes for Jenny.
But we had a car.
The last part goes into the last Spitfire. Now we have more Spitfires than we know what to do with.
Plane!
If the missus doesn't fancy a fighter plane in the empty garage, tell her to sit tight, for here they come. Cars, cars, and more cars. A sight for war-weary eye. By the way, you can have any colour you like for your car, as long as it's black. Already a few thousand housewives are getting in their applications for backseat driving lessons.
Of course, ours wasn't a new one. It was one that'd been laid up during the war.
£85.
Your gratuity money?
That's right, why not?
It was a little Morris.
With a dicky seat in the back for me.
And a hood you pulled over.
On it. Oh, hood's a bit broken. Soon sort that out. There
He
you go.
mended it on my sewing machine. Ruined it, I might tell you.
Come on, get in. Right, off we go. Hey, you know where we live? It's the house with the car. All right.
Say that now and you'd never find it.
Days out in London, Hyde Park.
I loved watching people in the park.
Or at the seaside.
Happy days are here again, the skies above are clear again. Let us sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. Here we are.
We'd take all our food with us and a kettle, a teapot and a little paraffin heater.
Daddy, what's that knife for? Why is it all curly?
Soldier gave it to me when I was away. He was a Gurkha soldier.
What's that?
A man from Nepal. He was in the same camp as me.
He'd never talk about what he'd seen over there. Just couldn't, I suppose. He used to say.
It's all behind me. Don't want to talk about it.
Come on, Jenny. All right, Bob.
All right then. Come on in. Hey. Happy days are here again. Whitstable was our limit. Fuel was hard to come by, you see, still rationing. Got cheer again. Happy days are here. Oh no. Hang on a minute.
I never asked him, but I wondered where he got the petrol from for those trips. I wouldn't be surprised if he siphoned it from someone else's tank. But he never said.
Right, get us started. Yeah. a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. Well, at least it got us home.
Actually, he knew very little about car engines, but some nights we'd spend hours with me holding the torch over the engine through the window so we could see.
Up a bit. Left a bit. Come on, I can't see. That's it. Got it.
Or he'd dismantle an engine piece by piece, numbering every little part, and I sat on the top step writing down where each part came from.
Top right gasket.
Top right
Got it.
gasket, yes.
Bottom left gasket.
Bottom left.
Got it. There.
It's amazing how much I learn about car engines, but I never drove.
Do you know what, Peg? We're getting sorted, you know. Back home, all in one piece. Decent job, and now a little motor, all of me own. Who'd have thought it, eh?
So Bob's dream had come true, but mine hadn't. I was still dreaming of a nice prefab or a council house.
When I was a little boy, my father used to say, if troubles ever trouble you, just dream your cares away. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartaches. Whatever you wish for, you hear. Look at that banner headline, Daily Mirror. Vote for him. Vote the way the absent soldier or sailor or airman would have done. Thousands of women are saying this every day. Thousands more will be saying it before and on July the 5th. You can't get it any clearer than that.
I can't vote against Churchill.
He's a warmonger.
It's not fair, Bob.
Oh, all right, he was the best man for the job, I'll give you that. But I've had enough of him.
Well, that's all very well for you to say, but you weren't here for most of the war, were you? You don't know what he meant to us. When we had a bad patch and we had disasters, well, Churchill would come on the radio and give a speech.
They have nothing to offer but blood and toil and sweat and tears. We will wage war with all our might, by sea, land and air. Our aim is victory, at all costs, however long and hard the road may be.
Next morning, you could see the difference in everybody. People would say, did you hear him last night? Blood, sweat and tears. And we said, yeah. We'll believe that. We'll pull through. This business of we'll pull through, that was in everybody.
But the war's finished, Peg. And he's a Conservative and you can't trust the Conservatives. They're for the rich and Labour's for the poor. It's as simple as that.
I'm not sure, Bob.
Take the rationing. No one likes it, no, but it's the fairest way. If the Tories get back in, it'd be straight back to them. Them what can afford it, buy it. Them what can't go without.
Oh, I don't know.
What about... You're the one that's always on about his council house. Look at this. Tories ruin hope of new houses. Yeah, it's Labour. It's Labour you'll get that council house from, not the other lot. Come on, Peg, you've got it. Have faith in your dreams, and someday
Your rainbow will come smiling through.
exactly.
No matter who your heart is breathing, if you keep on believing, your dream that you wish will come true.
7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. The people of Britain decided on what kind of government they wanted. This was the first general election for 10 years, and experts early estimated a record poll.
Before the war, we'd had a lot of unemployment. We'd been through the Depression. Even up to 37, 38, there was still a lot of unemployment. We were told by Labour there would be a better Britain. Everyone could have a house. Everyone could have a job.
Well, if you think back before the war, my mum, what with all us family, she couldn't afford £5,000 to get the doctor in. But now they were saying a general health service. You'll have a free this, a free that. You'll be able to have a doctor. You'll be able to go to the dentist, get your teeth seen to. Well, that was the biggest thing, especially for us people with kids, because we wanted them to have a better thing than what we'd had.
There was 5 million of us in the services with nothing to do for the 3 months between VE Day and the election. There was a lot of talk about beverage, housing, full employment. There was time to think. Most of us what had joined up were factory workers, strong union men. We wanted a better life. We wanted a car and a home when we come back from all the fighting.
I'd always idolised Churchill. It was under his leadership that we won the war, wasn't it? I mean, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have got through it. And I can't understand people letting him down. I voted for him.
I was all for Churchill, in a way. I was in one of those crowds who came out to applaud him and then voted against him. But you've got to vote for who you're going to get the most out of. And if Labour say they're going to build new houses, if they say they're going to give you a decent standard of living, well, they get my vote.
There was all kinds of ideas being put forward. Family allowances, national insurance, get rid of the means test, knock down the slums, house the homeless, build a national health service. A fair deal for all. At last, we were going to do something. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land.
Bob, we've got a place.
Hey?
Council house, they've given us one, we've got one. It's semi-detached, with an entrance at the side, and it's got a bathroom and a garden. A garden!
Yeah, but has it got a garage?
Well, you know very well council places ain't got garages.
Well, I don't want to know. Unless it's got a garage, I don't want to
Oh,
know.
but we can't stay here. Come on, come and
I'm
have a
not,
look.
no, I'm not going. I don't want to know.
But we did move there. I was over the moon. Look, Mum, isn't it lovely?
Oh, look, it's got a built-in fridge. Oh, and this cupboard, look, oh, it's got an ironing board. And if you keep the ironing board up, there's a second cupboard here. Look, oh, there's a broom cupboard.
And it's got a hatch, so the man can come and bring the bread and the milk from the outside, and I can pull them in from the inside.
Oh, and it's got 2 toilets.
Yes.
The one in the porch and one in the bathroom.
And there's sliding doors, so we can have the dining room separate. Or we can have the 2 rooms as one if we want to. Bob?
It's wonderful, Peg. Oh. It's wonderful!
Oh, I never dreamt I'd ever live in a place like this. And pretty soon we got to know everyone on the estate.
Right, Bill! Hey!
People pop round, have a chat. It was a real community. That was the start of a new era.
A dream is a wish you're